Sir, I need you to step aside. The voice was sharp, cutting through the murmurs of the crowded supermarket. Harold's hands trembled as he clutched the small bag of bread and milk, his eyes darting between the towering security guard and the stern-faced cashier, pointing accusingly in his direction. "I didn't take anything," Harold said, his voice breaking. His weathered face, framed by a scruffy beard, seemed out of place amidst the bright, clean aisles. "Don't make this harder," the cashier snapped. "I saw you slip something into your coat. We have cameras, you know." A crowd began to gather, whispers growing louder with every passing second. "That poor man? Is he homeless? Why would he steal? I just saw him pay for that bread. What's going on?" Harold shook his head, his voice rising. "I didn't steal. Please, Empty your pockets," the guard interrupted, his tone leaving no room for argument. Harold hesitated, his pride warring with his fear. Slowly he turned out his coat pockets, one empty, the other holding a crumpled tissue. His other hand opened to reveal his wallet, containing a few worn bills and an old photo of a young boy smiling up at the camera. "Check his bag," the cashier insisted, her voice tinged with disbelief. The guard rummaged through the small plastic bag, pulling out the loaf of bread and carton of milk. "Nothing else here," he said, frowning as he looked back at the cashier. The crowd began to murmur louder, confusion and sympathy replacing suspicion. "What's going on here?" A commanding voice broke through the tension. A man in a crisp suit, his ID badge identifying him as the store manager, strode into the scene. His sharp eyes darted from Harold to the cashier. "He was stealing," the cashier stammered, her confidence faltering. "I saw him." The manager's gaze lingered on Harold, then moved to the security cameras mounted on the ceiling. "Let's check the footage before we make any accusations." The crowd parted as Harold was escorted to the back office. The room was small, cold, and sterile, but Harold couldn't help but feel relief that he was away from the prying eyes. The manager fast-forwarded through the surveillance footage, his eyes scanning the screen. The cashier shifted uncomfortably, her confidence slipping further with every passing second. "There," she said suddenly, pointing at the screen. The footage showed Harold reaching into a display of apples, picking one up, and slipping it into his pocket before walking toward the bread aisle. Harold's heart sank. I wasn't stealing it. I was..." "Quiet," the manager said, holding up a hand. He rewound the footage, this time watching intently. "Wait." The video showed Harold stopping by the apples, picking one up and putting it back after inspecting it. The room went silent. The manager turned to the cashier, his expression hard. "You accuse this man of stealing based on this?" I thought," she stammered. "You didn't think," the manager interrupted, his tone icy. "You saw an older man in worn clothes and assumed the worst." The manager turned to Harold, his expression softening. "Sir, I'm deeply sorry for this. Your items are on us today, and if there's anything else you need, please let me know." Harold nodded, his lips pressed together in an effort to hold back tears. "Thank you," he said quietly. As Harold gathered his things and walked out of the store, the manager turned to the cashier. "We'll talk later," he said, his voice low and firm. Outside, Harold clutched his bag tightly, his hands still shaking. A little boy tugged at his coat, his face bright with excitement. "Did you get the bread, Grandpa?" Harold nodded, forcing a smile. "I got it, buddy." The boy grinned. "Mom will be so happy. We can have toast with dinner." Harold's heart swelled as he looked down at his grandson. The sting of humiliation still lingered, but as the boy skipped ahead, Harold couldn't help but feel grateful. Justice, though delayed, had prevailed.